Next, we'll hear from the Hong Kong Baptist University, HKBU, with an innovative case study, a Hong Kong library's use of space. The presentation will be delivered by Mr. Chris Chan, University Librarian at HKBU, and Ms. Bethany Wilkes, Deputy University Librarian at HKBU. Mr. Chan and Ms. Wilkes, please.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to first extend another warm welcome to our IFLA visitors. It's really great to have you here in Hong Kong. And it's also great to see so many Hong Kong participants here and online today as well. Thanks to HKU for hosting this today. So today, Chris and I, our university librarian, will be talking about spaces in transition, adapting to change at HKBU Library. So first, a bit about HKBU, or Hong Kong Baptist University. We were founded in 1956, and we were founded as a college, Hong Kong Baptist College. And at this time, the focus was on whole person education, which we continue to emphasize to this day. In 1983, we became fully funded public institution, followed by achieving university status in 1994. And then today we have over 7,250 undergraduates and 4,900 postgraduates. So a bit about HKBU Library next. So many of you have been to our library already or at some other point in time. HKBU Library actually is the umbrella for 3 libraries. So we have the Oshu Hung Memorial Library. This is the main library for HKBU since 1995. So you will note that was soon after we achieved university status. We also have the Chinese Medicine Library, which offers specialized collections and also services supporting the School of Chinese Medicine. The School of Chinese Medicine is one of the major areas at Hong Kong Baptist University. And we also have the Shek Mun Campus Library. This serves students and faculty of the School of Continuing Education that are based at this satellite campus. So within these libraries, we have a variety of learning spaces overall, but the learning spaces that I will speak about next are all found within our main library. So we do have an academic commons. This is on levels 2 and 3 of our library, and this area is open 24/7. It offers versatile space for individual and also group work. So very flexible spaces there. And within this commons, we have another commons, the Transdisciplinary Discovery Commons. And this also provides some flexible space and promotes cross-disciplinary collaboration. Transdisciplinary teaching, learning, and research is very important to HKBU. And as Chris will remind us, HKBU is all in on transdisciplinarity. So this is a very important area for us and the university as well. We host a variety of events in the Transdisciplinary Discovery Commons. We recently hosted a student transdisciplinary conference, as well as a library-initiated AI event in this space, so it's really quite versatile. We also have a multimedia learning center. This is equipped with PCs, loaded with a variety of software, and also AV facilities. We have special needs user rooms within the library with specialized equipment supporting users with disabilities. And we have group study rooms, group viewing rooms, and postgraduate study rooms. These are all bookable spaces for both private and group study. So next, a bit about space challenges. So I imagine that the group has heard a bit about space challenges here in Hong Kong already, or if you are one of our local colleagues, you experience these directly. So here in Hong Kong, there is obviously limited physical space. So there really is a premium on every square meter, not only within our universities, but across the region itself. Alongside this, we have at our universities growing user needs. So more students are requiring diverse learning environments. At the same time, some of us are at universities which are having a bit of a shift in priorities. So we experience changing priorities with a bit of a shift in focus. At HKBU, there is a shifting focus to research and specialized facilities across the campus. And so oftentimes there is competition for limited campus resources. So I see a few nods, so it's good to know we're not alone. Next, I'll talk a little bit about some bites that have been or are being taken out of our library space. So the first bite has been taken by the Visualization Research Center, which I should say is really a fabulous center in producing some wonderful art, technology, and research. So it really is a fabulous space. At the same time, it was allocated space previously used for storage and offices on the first level of our library. At the Chinese Medicine Library, we have a situation in which the library will soon be combined with the existing Chinese Medicine Museum, which will result in an overall loss of space. Now, of course, this will also provide opportunities for collaboration and synergy, so that is a positive outcome or is coming up, but at the same time, our footprint will be reduced at the Chinese Medicine Library. Likewise, at the Shekmun Campus Library, our footprint will also be reduced due to a consolidation of programs that require more classrooms on this campus. So library space will be reallocated to meet these needs. So basically, all of the programs that are part of the School of Continuing Education will be moved to this campus. So this will really increase the number of classrooms that they need and the people who will be on campus as well. And finally, last but certainly not least, there has been some storage reallocation. So we did lose a standalone on-campus storage facility, which was reallocated for faculty offices. So a bit of bites that we have been experiencing. So I mentioned earlier a bit about shifting priorities at the institution. So there is a renewed emphasis on enhancing HKBU's reputation. So there's an emphasis, more of an emphasis, I should say, than in the past on international recognition and metrics. I already mentioned transdisciplinary learning. So there are new spaces needed to facilitate cross-departmental collaboration. And I should mention that around these priorities, again, there are numerous opportunities that the library will have to contribute to both of these and strengthen these areas across the university. But at the same time, I can't help but feeling it has a little bit of a challenging impact on our library spaces when we are talking about spaces in particular. And so there's also been some administrative restructuring. So centralization affects departmental space allocations across the campus. And alongside this, we have changing user behaviors, which of course libraries and librarians have been adapting to and hopefully meeting and exceeding user expectations in these areas for many years. However, I think it's worth noting, the digital shift is still underway. Resources and learning activities continue to be moved online. Collaborative work, there's a growing demand for group spaces. Students are working more in teams and working on projects together. But at the same time, there's still that high demand for quiet study areas. Students still need those quiet spaces to study alone together. And we also have quite a bit of a demand for relaxation zones, students seeking spaces to rest and recharge. And I wonder if this is particularly important here in Hong Kong, where students, there's some chuckles, so maybe it's right. And here in Hong Kong, where students don't always live on campus. So at HKBU, students can live on campus for 1 year. And if they are not living on campus, oftentimes they are still living with their families, parents, siblings, extended families as well. So they really do seek out places to rest and recharge across campus and oftentimes in the libraries. So next, I will pass this over to our university librarian, Chris Chan, who will talk a bit more about these challenges and how we are approaching them.
Great. Thanks, Bethany. Good afternoon, colleagues. Maybe just for a change, I'll stand on this side. Give you your neck a bit of exercise. Just before we get into it, I think the relaxation is a bit of a euphemism. I see students outside my office just flat out asleep, unconscious. But, you know, as Bethany was saying, those sorts of demands, we want to meet them as well. But before I go into some of the ways that we have kind of proceeded on this journey, I do want to take a step back and talk about collection right sizing, because this has really been kind of fundamental to all of the solutions that we are pursuing. Because ultimately, we've determined that one thing we've come a bit late to the party, I have to say, at HKBU is looking at our collections really realistically from the actual needs that we have and looking to, again, euphemistically, right the collection. So it is really foundational to our strategy. The constraints are very real. The premium on every single, I would say, square centimeter of space is just so extreme in Hong Kong that the only way we can create opportunities to respond to these changing needs, to these changing behaviors, is to judiciously right size. And that can be really hard, not just for librarians, but for our many stakeholders, our faculty and our students as well. So we've been really careful to communicate the reasoning for this, the rationale, and to try and get that buy-in from stakeholders. And that's all been very data-driven. So we have been targeting our lowest use materials. We present the evidence. Of course, maybe I do cherry pick. The usual thing I cherry pick is that, well, this book hasn't been touched in 20 years. And of course, there are many books that have been well used. And for those items in the collection, we do protect them. And we take a disciplinary approach too. Because I remember when we told this to the Faculty of Science, they were like, sure, get rid of all the science books. We're okay with that. But the Department of History, that was a longer conversation, let's say. And last point there, we are, of course, strengthening our e-resources wherever possible. So let me turn to some of the things we've done with our spaces. And this morning, I had the absolute pleasure and honor of showing IFLA delegates our new spaces on level 6 and level 7. And I think this is a really good contrast with the really excellent presentation from Hong Kong U Libraries, looking at the music library and your space on level 3, because those are really innovative and new. I'm not going to say our spaces are not innovative, but they are more traditional. And this was done consciously. So when we had the opportunity to renovate these 2 floors, and these are the top 2 floors of the main library, we thought carefully about what we wanted to do with this space. And in the end, the answer was to keep a fairly, quote unquote, traditional space, book stacks, silent study areas, but really elevate that experience, modernize them, expand it, and really provide a diversity of seating options and silent study options for our students. The building is quite old. So one thing we really focused on is improving the accessibility. Up on level 7, there are split wings, which previously were only accessible by staircase. So by installing these lifting platforms, we're able to extend access, or barrier-free access, I should say, to the different split floors. Also, because of our right sizing, we were able to reduce the size of the collections on these floors quite dramatically, from about 500,000 volumes to less than 230,000 volumes. And this allowed us to do things like make the aisles sufficiently wide so that wheelchairs could pass through them. Continuing on with level 7, we still envision our physical collections being very important for the foreseeable future. So as much as possible, we maximized our storage capacity through the installation of compact shelving. And what I was really happy with at the end of the process, and this required a lot of real partnership with our estates office and the appointed designers to improve the aesthetics of the space. And as I showed the tour group this morning, there's a real big contrast when you move from level 5, which has not been renovated, up to level 6, which has been. So we really, I think, achieved a lot in terms of elevating the space. And the impact, too, we've seen in some of the measures that we've done. And by the way, the usage here was done through a space utilization study. So our user experience and assessment librarian organized a study where student helpers would actually count how many people are in the spaces and using the different seats, etc. And you can see just in terms of what we have available, doubling the number of study spaces on these 2 floors from around 300 to over 700. And we've seen the usage before the renovation on these 2 floors. Well, part of that's a function of there not being as many seats, but after we increase the number of seats, we've seen usage, as the actual number of people using these floors increasing a lot as well. Although I have to say, not as much as I would like. So we're probably going to put even more effort into letting students know that these spaces are indeed available. Part of that usage study, the student helpers would actually record what the students were doing. What percentage do you think were reading a physical book? It's about 2% on these floors where we have a lot of our physical collections. But it really did, sort of reinforce the fact that our students are still coming to the library in great numbers, which is great, but they're doing different things. I do want to talk a little bit about our branch library revitalization. Here we only have kind of conceptual art to show you. I'll make this point at the end too. I think this journey, this space utilization, maximizing, optimizing the use of space is a journey that's just going to be ongoing for many, many years. And we need to be flexible because neither of these renovations were things that the library pushed for. We were sort of informed by our university administration that this needs to happen. So Bethany kind of gave you the overview here. This floor plan, sorry, it's a little bit blurry. This is the 4th floor of the Shetland campus building. It used to be entirely dedicated to the library, but now you can see there's going to be lecture theater, sort of multi-purpose hall here, and 4 classrooms over here. So we're going to lose about half of the space, unfortunately. So again, right sizing was a big point here. We reduced the size of the physical collection at this branch library, but the aesthetics, I think, I was really impressed when I saw some of the renderings that the consultant provided. So much more open space. Shetland Campus Library, well, we can't compete with this view out here. It has a very nice view too, out over the mountains in the New Territories. I am looking forward to that coming to fruition, and it should be ready in September. The other one is our Chinese medicine library. And as Bethany mentioned, Chinese medicine, a real foundation of HKBU's academic excellence, and still the only Chinese medicine library in Hong Kong. So again, because of space constraints, the existing Chinese Medicine Museum needs to move up here and combine. But I am trying to see this as an opportunity. I think there's a lot of opportunity for synergy because they have a curator. And in the past, we've not really worked with them much before. So I've said to our Chinese medicine librarian, this fantastic opportunity. What can we do together? And you can see this space, it's not just cut in half. And we talked with the designers about this. It's kind of more weaved in. Although the library and the museum will still be kept separate. This renovation hasn't started yet, but my colleagues will be moving out of the library to get that process ready very soon. And I can see I'm almost exactly to time, which is unusual for me. By the way, this idea to have the giant timer at the back is fantastic. So yeah, this journey will continue. The only constant, of course, is change. We try to the greatest extent possible to expect the unexpected, right? But I think what I've learned, because all of these projects have come up in the sort of 3 or 4 years in which I've been the university librarian at HKBU, it's important to be flexible. It's important to be resilient and kind of take things in stride. I think my usual reaction has been, well, here we go again. But it's seeing the opportunities and turning those threats, or what we could perceive as threats, into opportunities for collaboration, and obviously the most important thing, to improve the user experience for our students and for our faculty to make the use of the spaces we do have. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention.